It's quite funny to hear that we should be dealing with the climate problem, but we should reduce red tape. Pretty amusing, really, isn't it? Anyway, if I could just make a brief prediction, I don't think this is the last time we'll be having a debate about the fact that we've just completed the hottest year ever. Climate change, as we all know, is extremely dangerous, and it's stupid to do nothing about it. Lots of people are vulnerable, those who live near coasts, rivers or forests. Look at the recent forests in the US. Look at the floods and the forest fires we've had in Europe over the last 12 months. Our farmers are losing more and more of their harvest because of heavy rainfall or drought. The problem is urgent, but there doesn't seem to be much of a sense of urgency, although there are lots of people calling for less red tape. So, Carl Sagan recently made a brilliant speech. He talked about how much the USA spent during the Cold War, $13 billion. And pretty large amount, maybe, but nobody back then seemed to ask whether it's justified it. 25 billion euros in today's money. A quarter of what we earn. And maybe there was a slight chance the Russians might attack, but it was felt it was important to defend ourselves against the Soviets in the same way as we have to defend ourselves against Putin. With just a fraction of that amount, 2 or 3% of what our society earns, we should be able to tackle the problem of climate change. Meanwhile, the problem is getting worse and worse. The difference is that climate change isn't something which you can track with satellites and spies, but the consequences are disastrous. So we all seem to think it won't affect us, until one day we find ourselves facing a disaster, and then we'll hear lots of politicians giving speeches about how we should never let this happen again. The best time to intervene was yesterday, and it would be even better if we started now.
Thank you. Next, on behalf of Patriots for Europe, Mr. Sardone, please.